and we'll talk about LNBits, what LNBits is, where it comes from, where we are now, and then like where we're going, what we're excited about, and what we've been working on. So for those of you who don't know, I think most people are kind of familiar with LNBits, but for people who aren't, it's just a simple wallet account system for your node. So if you have your Bitcoin node and you have your Lightning node on top of it, you can install this additional piece of software which will create a wallet account system which you can use for friends, family, that sort of thing. But it also has this extension framework which we've attached to it, because a lot of the people who work on LNBits are also very excited about Lightning. We have all these goofy ideas and we want to test those goofy ideas out. We want to be able to quickly spin up an extension and then play around with some of those ideas. So LNBits for us is a kind of a platform for that, so we can experiment with some of these ideas. It came from kind of real world hurdles and stumbling blocks we came across when we were trying to use the Lightning Network. In that, you know, if I'm making a device like an ATM, for example, in order for that ATM to pay somebody when they put some cash in, if it's over Lightning, that ATM, you know, a few years ago would have to have access to my admin key, so it could access my node, it could take all my funds, and that kind of sucked. So it's like, well, okay, can that ATM have its own wallet, and then in that wallet there's a limited amount of funds, so sort of segment my Lightning node wallet into lots of little wallets, and then have them for different purposes. Have one for an ATM, have one for points of sale, have one for whatever else. So there was certainly a need for us to be able to have a wallets system. So anyway, so let's actually have a look at the software. There's actually two versions of our software which we're running. We have one we call Legend, which is built on Python, and then we have another version called Infinity, which is built on Go. And it's a little bit more experimental than Infinity, but it's quite interesting when we can build extensions on it. But currently, the focus is on the Python LNBits, getting that out of beta and making it fully functional, stable software which people can rely on. So that's what we've been working on. So yeah, you can go to the repo, check out the repo, and then, you know, install instructions, all that stuff, information about the projects in the repo. I would advise using Legend for now until we do some work on Infinity. It's still kind of like bubbling away in the background. Once you spin up, like this morning, I spun up a server for this demo, and it took me like 5 minutes to connect it to a funding source, and then actually spin up the LNBits server. So one of the other stumbling blocks would be when I was developing, if I was making an application, I would have to make like a C Lightning version, an LND version, an Eclair version, an OpenNode version, an LNPay version. So if I might put a sale, I would have to have like 5 different versions of point of sale to plug into all those APIs, and then I'd have to replicate that time and again. And then so would other Lightning developers too. So it also made sense that we had middleware software, which would have, each wallet would have its own API keys, and then that middleware software can sit on top of any funding source. So that's kind of one of the main core concepts of LNBits, is now, as people did yesterday when we did the workshop, we made one of these point of sales, that's just connecting to an LNBits account and an LNBits wallet. But the funding source underneath LNBits could be anything, and we're always adding new funding sources, which I'm going to actually mention. But we support, I think it's like 7 funding sources currently. So when you, what did I call this server I spun up this morning? Here we go, Mallorca 0 Wales, here we go, not Wales. So when you install LNBits on your own server, on your own node, on your Lightning node, this is what you'll see when you get it running, and then you can just make a wallet, and then you have access to that wallet. It just works like a Lightning wallet would. You know, you can send and receive funds. It's fully responsive, so you can, so it will act like a sort of an Insta wallet, a mobile wallet on your phone. It's actually a progressive web app, so if you're using Android, you can install it. It works quite nicely that way. So this is what you'll see. This is just the wallet you'll see. You can restrict access. So yes, you can be a custodian for the world, not for everyone. A custodian solution like a Wallet Satoshi or Blue Wallet or something. You can offer that to people, or you can just restrict access to your friends, family, or just yourself. So you can just take the user key and just restrict access to just you. Currently, you have to kind of do it through our environment variables, but we will have like an admin extension where we'll make that a lot easier. So we have a simple wallet account system. Each wallet has its own API information, so I can plug this POS into that wallet. This could be an ATM. We say 100. This wallet could be for an ATM, and so just have 100 quid on it. And then if someone hacks my ATM, they can just get access to this wallet. If I want to add a new wallet, it's trivial, and I can create a new wallet, and then that new wallet then has new API information which is quite nice. Now, where it becomes powerful is our extension framework. So if anyone's familiar with something like WordPress, that's so successful because you start with something very simple, just a blogging platform. And then, if you're a merchant, you can install a WooCommerce plugin, you can install this. Whereas if you're a content creator, you can install this plugin. So you extend your WordPress install into any direction which is relevant to you. And then LNBits basically works the same way. It's on your node, and then you just install the extensions which are relevant to you. So we have quite a lot of extensions currently, but this is almost becoming the tip of the iceberg because we have so many PRs for new extensions people are building, which we need to work through and merge. So it's a very exciting project to work on. Currently, we just package the extensions in with the software, but I think now we're going to have to seriously think about giving like a kind of WordPress user experience where you would have, just when you install LNBits, just end up with LNBits core, and then you then pull the extensions down and install them into it. And there's been, from the beginning, that's been the goal, but for now we just kind of like package the extensions in there. I've already spun up a couple of extensions, spun up a wallet here and done some transactions this morning. And you can do all sorts of stuff. So if you want to make withdraw faucets, I was going to make some post around the conference, I'll do that later today. LNURL withdraw, this allows you to make a static QR code which somebody can just scan and then just get the sats. So if I go here, and then actually we can go to quick vouchers, and then I can just select the wallet, okay, select that test wallet there, and then amount, I can say 1,000. Yeah, amount, withdraw, and then here we are, number of vouchers, one voucher, great voucher. All right, so if somebody wants to scan this bad boy, they'll get 1,000 sats. That's it. If not, then maybe someone on the video might be able to scan it, zoom in, and depixel the image. So that's great for making withdrawal faucets, which you can put around your town or whatever. We also, because people who work on LNBits, some of us are very interested in the LNURL stuff, which allows for static QR codes for payments and also these withdrawing things. So we've always supported that from the beginning. Another one is something like LNURL Pay, where we could create a static payment link which somebody can hit multiple times. So put 100, here we go, boom. And now we have a static payment link, somebody can hit that multiple times and they can just pay me 100 sats, 100 sats, 100 sats. So you have a withdraw, the ability to create a withdraw link, but then you also have the ability to make a payment link. And then it's like, okay, well, what can you do with that? Well, how about we marry those two things up? And then I made something which is a bit naughty called Sats Dice. So this is a bit like a coin flip. So I can make a Sats Dice in here now, connect it to that wallet, what should we call it? And then we can set in the threshold, make the minimum maximum, say 10K, so we'll do a 10K bet. And then we can put a haircut, say 5% haircut here. And now, if somebody plays my game, they've got a 1.5 chance of winning 55% of whatever they put in. But I can also move this thing up here. So this is a bit like Satoshi Dice or something, I think. Okay, so I can click on that now. And now I have a static payment link. And then I could go like, oh, leave my phone there, I could leave my phone there. I can go like stick this up on, in the tube station in Paddington, and then anyone who knows what Bitcoin is will be able to have a little flutter while they're waiting for their train, and they might have a chance of winning. So you have gambling. You see, with a QR code. All of these extensions are, we sort of made them, and then obviously tried to make them secure and everything, but then we sort of left them development-wise, so they could all be worked into. So we could work some provably fair stuff into this. So the person who is actually making the bet could be, they would know that the actual bet themselves, we're not going to rip them off, and the odds are real. So what else are we doing? So one of the ones I like is Spotify Jukebox. So a lot of the development work and a lot of the momentum behind LNBits came from the Lightning Hack days. And in one of the first Lightning Hack days in New York, this guy made this, I forgot his name, but his name is actually up there because we also give credit to people. Pyro B3, he made this really nice jukebox which just used the Spotify API, so you could make a lightning payment and then it would play a song on someone's Spotify account. And I got in contact and they said, do you mind if we make this into an extension? He said, yeah, cool, you can work on it, so I made it into an extension. But what's nice about it is, simply that. So you can, this morning, I put Spotify Jukebox here. Let's go, this is make it dark, make it light. Add Spotify jukebox here, give a jukebox name, which wallet it's going to use, and then price per track, and then, let's have a little demo, shall we? Let's go to that wallet, price per track, 20 sats, continue. And then there's some instructions here on how to connect it to the Spotify API. You go through that process, and then once you've gone through that process, you have a nice little QR code you can put in your bar on the wall. People could scan, and then they can go to a nice jukebox front end. Oh, fail. Well, that might be because, in fact, I don't think I have Spotify open on my phone. I'm going to run over here quickly and grab my phone because I think I need it for my demo. So if I had internet, which I don't do, I might not. No, I don't, so I can't show you, that's annoying. So basically, because Spotify's not open on my phone, because my phone hasn't got any internet, then, because the internet in the hotel decided to go down just before I talk, it means that I can't actually open the jukebox and download it, there we are. So basically, there's a UI, and then you select a song, and then you can pay some sats, and then it will play that song. And all you need is your phone, a Spotify account, and an LNBits wallet, which you obviously should run yourself, but you could use somebody else's LNBits installed, that's absolutely fine. What other extensions have we got, which I'm quite excited about? Point of sale, so we have a simple point of sale extension. This is one of the first extensions. It's made by Tal, one of our developers, one of our main developers. And it's just the ability to easily spin up, say you've got a friend, they've got a cafe, and they just want to accept Lightning payments. Really nice and simple. Okay, connect it to this wallet. I can select a currency to denominate in, so let's say euros. A new feature, as I said, all these extensions can be worked into a little bit. A new feature somebody PR'd recently is the ability to add a tip wallet as well. So your bar staff could actually have their own wallet and then we can send tips to it, or just use the same wallet. And then you can have different tip parameters here, so like 5%, 10%, 20%. And then create TPOS. Two cafes made. This is a Euro one. And now this here is just a simple point of sale, again completely responsive, so it looks nice on the phone. And then you can just, in fact, if you click on the sort of share link, you could again have this QR code in the till of your bar. If someone cafe, if someone comes in and wants to pay Bitcoin or Lightning, they can just scan it, boom, they'll get this. I can't have internet, so I can't show you, but they'll be able to get this on their phone, and this is completely air-gapped from the wallet, so you can't get any details about the wallet from this point of sale. It's denominated in local currency, and then because we have the ability to add a tip as well, now they can also add a tip to it, and then it generates the payment link, somebody can pay the payment link, and then the tip will go to the wallet or the wallet you've associated to through that one payment, which is pretty cool. It'll split the payment across. It's very nice. What else have we got? So I do videos on some YouTube tutorials, occasional panel discussion, things like that. And I really wanted a simple video tipping platform where I could just easily spin up a video feed, which I could plug into OBS and then plug into my YouTube channel thing. And then we could have a tip QR code on the screen, and we could also have a live price feed. And I'm hoping that the WebSocket, which connects that, there we are, there's a live price feed coming on. And then with that, if somebody pays that QR code, then it generates a GIF to happen on the screen so that people get real world feedback, which is pretty nice. So what I'm trying to say is there's just infinite possibilities when it comes to these extensions. We realized early on that, I made one of the first LNURL faucets, or I think maybe the first LNURL faucet on the internet, and people were using it for Lightning stuff. And there was all this, we were reproducing all this code. So the basic of any Lightning application, you have a wallet, which is connecting to a node, doing some things, and then you have that little slither of functionality on top. With LNBits, we can just build that little slither of functionality on top of that wallet's account system, where each wallet has its own API. And that's all kind of taken care of. What else have we got in here? We've got user manager. This is good if you want to use LNBits in your stack. That's something which a lot of people do, where, again, if they want to make an application, if you make a Lightning application, then it's quite likely, and you're connecting it to your node, it's quite likely you're going to have like a dozen vulnerabilities which everybody else has had. Well, we've addressed those in LNBits somewhat. So if you include it in your stack, you know that there's some of those issues have been addressed. Maybe there's some other ones we don't know about. We have our demo servers in the wild. They've got funds on there, and they've been attacked, for a good couple of years now. And we've been able to start building resistance to some of those attacks, which is nice. So you can trust that there is some hardening which has happened there. There's an events extension, so if you have an event, you can easily issue tickets, and then people can pay for these tickets, and they get a ticket, and they scan the ticket at the event. All these wonderful extensions. Now, so that's currently where we are, and then it's like, well, where are we going to go? For me, I have my local cafe where I live in my little village, and the owner of that cafe, he kind of likes Bitcoin, but I always talk about Bitcoin sometimes, but I've never told him what I do. And he has a real world premises, so really I should be shilling, trying to onboard him, but it's just not ready. The experience isn't ready for him. And I think the experience for him is he has an LNBits wallet using my install, so he doesn't have to install anything himself. This is the initial first experience which I think he should be exposed to. An extension which a guy called DNI is working on, which I'm very excited about, is using Bolts.exchange, which Thomas mentioned before for submarine swapping. So what we can now do, once this PR gets merged, what we can now do with the Bolts Exchange extension is I can set a cap on my cafe wallet, and then say when there's 50 euros in that cafe wallet, it will just automatically loop out to an on-chain address. So for that cafe owner, their security risk of using me as a custodian is like 50 quid on Lightning. As soon as that gets to a, you can set the cap to anything. As soon as it gets to an amount they feel uncomfortable with, it can just loop out to on-chain. And then it's like, okay, well if it's looping out to on-chain, where are they going to send it? They're going to send it to Kraken. They're going to send it to, they're going to send it to their Trezor. Can I give that guy in the cafe, literally give him a hardware wallet which costs like £5? I can just give it to him, just a minimal amount, trivial amount of money. The security obviously isn't going to be amazing on this hardware wallet I can give away. I'm giving him a hardware wallet for Christ's sake, but it's enough for maybe like $1,000 or whatever. So then it's like, well, can they manage that hardware wallet in LNBits as well? So one of the new extensions, which I'm very excited about, and has been worked on by one of our developers, Vlad, is the on-chain wallet. So with the on-chain wallet, you can give the on-chain wallet an XPub, and then it will scan for, so I've got a Woohoo wallet here, which is an XPub. I got MZ's XPub he gave me before, thanks MZ. And then here are all MZ's funds, and these are all the addresses where we've got funds. And then if we look in the history here, then we have transactions in and out. And then actually, it's scanning the blockchain currently to scrape all those addresses to calculate how much money we have. If we go to coins here, we can actually do coin selection to make a payment. So I can select a bunch of coins here, and then I can pop in a Bitcoin address there. I've got a Bitcoin address. I can pop in a Bitcoin address there, and then I can generate a PSBT here, a partially signed Bitcoin transaction using my XPub, which means that now I've generated that there, I can plug in my cheap little hardware wallet, and then over web serial in the extension itself, I can send that PSBT to my hardware wallet, sign the transaction, send it back, broadcast it, all from the extension. So this originally was a very basic, you gave it an XPub, it would generate addresses, and other extensions could make use of that and use on-chain funds. But now, as you can see, like we're building into these extensions, we're working into them to make them a lot more functional. And I'm really excited about this. And as soon as we have more hardware wallet compatibility, and we're making PSBTs, then I think this is going to be a very functional, useful extension for that cafe owner. So now I can go into my the cafe and I can say, when this is ready, when the Bolts Exchange extension has been merged, I can go in and I can say, okay, here's your LNBits wallet, here's your POS for your LNBits, just accept Bitcoin or Lightning. When it gets to 50 quid, it's going to loop out onto this thing. Here's your on-chain funds. If it ever becomes a significant amount, send them to a proper hardware wallet, of course. But for a minimal, amount, this is okay to use, better than just having the funds on an exchange somewhere. And then there's that journey which I want him to be able to have. And then it's like, and this is where we're going to go. Like, where's LNBits going next? And I think that one of the funding sources which we're adding, it's already added into Infinity actually, but we're adding into Legend now, is a cliche, which is a Norton fork. This is so it's a Lightning node, which if anyone knows Simple Bitcoin Wallet, is able to use hosted channels in order for you to get instant inbound and outbound liquidity. It's a custodial solution, but instead of the funds being with me, and me being able to just manipulate the database and say, oh, well, all your funds are gone, there's nothing you can do about it. With hosted channels, there's a proof which somebody can take and say, look, this person ripped me off, LNBits ripped me off, or OpenNode's Node ripped me off, whatever, wherever they're getting those hosted channels. So that's something I'm very excited about. So then it's like you have all these different options for custodianship, and you can have that journey to the self-sovereign individual where they start off with this thing, this platform, but then for them to be able to install this themselves, it becomes trivial, and you don't have to install a whole big, massive Bitcoin node. You can start with a light node, and then if they want to, they can swap out that light node. They can pop in C Lightning, Bitcoin Core, and they can go full self-sovereign, have a nice Raspberry Blitz in their office, and they can have that journey to, that onboarding journey. But the front end for the people working in the cafe, it's all the same. It's just a point of sale, and then for whoever's managing the books, they can use the on-chain hardware wallet. So a lot of development happening on LNBits, very interesting. Something which I was quite keen on is using LNBits in a way where it's reproducible. Okay, so I met Matt, who's going to come up and talk in a second, at a conference, and we started talking about Nix, and then he kind of onboarded me onto the idea of Nix, and then Matt's been working to make LNBits available on Nix. So there's this great library of Bitcoin applications called Nix Bitcoin, which is by Jonas Nick and a bunch of others. They've been working on it for like 3 years, I think now, 3.5 years. And it's a nice collection of Bitcoin software where all this software is reproducible. So this is something which I'm very keen on making LNBits, and Matt's been working on making that possible. Now he's going to come up here and he's going to chat about Nix, and he's going to show how easy it is to use Nix to make reproducible Bitcoin nodes, and why reproducible Bitcoin nodes are important. So I'm going to share my talk with Matt, so we can talk about Nix. I think it's a very important point. And again, it's for us an exciting development in that we have a version of LNBits which you can use with Nix.